Hey, I'm ThreePlusKei, your favorite social worker for the next 27 minutes. And then you can move on to whoever else is actually your favorite social worker. But the title of this video was actually going to be the antisocial social worker, because a guy came today to fix my water heater, and I was telling him I'm a social worker, but it was pretty evident that I work from home, and he was amused. He was amused by the fact that I'm a social worker that prefers to stay at home. And so he said, "You're like an antisocial social worker." And I really love that he said that. I think that's very catchy, and it pretty much sums up what I've got going on lately. I think I'm at a point in my life where I want to double down on the positive things. So, historically, I've had a lot of friends around me, and the last year really highlighted the fact that just because you're friends with someone, or you have a good time with somebody, doesn't really, none of that really matters when you're down on your luck. I guess I wouldn't phrase it that way. When you're down, who's around you? And when you're down, it really highlights who is there for you. So friends, there's a term for it. Fair weather friends, right? When you're up, you have so many people around you, so many people that want to partake in your success. But when you're down, you've got to pay attention to who is there with you, right? And so I relearned, I'm continuously learning this lesson, but I relearned last year when I was experiencing depression that I was very much alone. And so what I decided actually since then is to really pay attention to who's around me, but specific to 2025. Oh, thanks, Amir. Specific to 2025, I want to double down on people who are showing emotional support. Does that make sense? So one lady, I've been going to this church, and she's the connections director. So she's in charge of making sure the connection gels well, and that publicly the church has a good look, right? So she's the connections director, and we have developed some type of friendship. And that kind of shows itself. She sends me text messages and kind of remembers what I've got going on in my life. And she was sharing some personal stuff about herself too. And so, in that vein then, hi, Brandy. And no, I am not married. I always say when I'm 50, I'll get married. Thanks, Brandy. but yeah, so that's the type of person I want to double down on. Or there is a paper, a dissertation, if you will, that I'm wanting to write called Grace versus Gaslighting. And a friend I hadn't talked to in a while, that's in a different, I met her in Atlanta. Um, she contacted me the other day and said, "When are you writing this paper? Because I am really interested in the subject matter. And here is a book recommendation to get you started." And so this is also another person that has vulnerability and transparency. And so I guess that's what I'm saying is I'm doubling down on those relationships where people are being vulnerable and transparent with me, because I lead with vulnerability and transparency. And so if I sense that that's going to be taken for granted or abused, I will reel it back in. What is your story about? Hi, Beanie. My story, are you talking about the paper that I want to write? It's called Grace versus Gaslighting. And it's not meant to speak against the church. It's going to be written to the church, right? And so I've, like many people, there's a term called church hurt, which means you've just experienced emotional pain from other church members and it caused you to feel a certain way. Not even necessarily, like, my faith has never wavered. My faith never wavered. My faith in the Lord's people, certainly there's been times where I wanted to back away, but I keep trying. I am church shopping at the moment, but I was just saying that I found a church that I do like because they lead with vulnerability and transparency. So anyway, grace versus gaslighting is when you're in the church setting and someone is being offensive toward you in whatever regard, the person who is being offended, when they speak on it, they're told to give grace and give forgiveness. But the person who's doing the offending can be covered under, well, they're just on their faith walk and you need and they deserve grace. And I think that that's true. I also think that bad behavior needs to be corrected because it's a poison, specifically in the church setting. And so the person being offended is then gaslit by others in the church. And this can happen when the person doing the offending is in a leadership position or has some type of popularity or something like that. So again, it's not against the church. It's written for other church members because many people have experienced this. And my whole thing in life is I don't like for people to feel alone in their emotions. And that goes back to me being a social worker, right? Like, I'm not here to coddle you. I'm not here to like placate you. But the human experience is very diverse. It is challenging. There's heartbreak, and there's so many emotions that we can feel that can isolate us. And if we speak it out, sometimes when we're speaking it out to people who don't understand, that's even more isolating, and it's a terrible thing. And that's my whole deal. My tagline for this, you see my shirt, is Pursue the Smile, because I really have a vested interest in people overcoming negative emotions. Do you have anxiety? I can. I think I have a strong sense of discernment. I have a strong sense of being able to tell when somebody or something is not for me, and where my anxiety comes from is proceeding anyway. Like I'm looking you in your face, and like you're smiling at me, and you're like talking to me, but the Holy Spirit is telling me that that's what the anxiety would be. The Holy Spirit is telling me that you are not for me, and in some cases, you know, you might even be against me, right? So, Brandy, if you're still here, I wonder if you experience anxiety as well. I got on here. I have this ukulele tutorial that is only 12 minutes and 39 seconds long, and I've been on it all week because I've been talking instead of playing. I meant this whole live stream thing started because I was learning ukulele online. And then people have been so kind, and I'm so grateful for that. Like, YouTube can be a friendly place for this antisocial social worker. The title is Judge Your Actions, Not Your Thoughts. And that literally, I was just watching a short with Alex Hermosi and some other guy right before I clicked on, like the 5 minutes before I clicked on. I just had it on repeat because he's saying, like, your thoughts will lie to you. And it's so true. But if you judge your actions, you either are doing something or you're not, regardless of how you feel about it. So I had some goals today, one of which was to do 45 minutes of exercise outside and 45 minutes of exercise inside. And I did the outside part, and I have 10 more minutes left tonight of the inside part. So however I'm feeling about weight, or even if I'm tired, right? The fact of the matter is that I am 10 minutes shy of doing an hour and a half of workouts today. So it's really your actions that matter. All right, so listen, there's literally 3 minutes left of this video. I would love it. It took 5 days to get here of a 12-minute video. I would love it if we could just get through the last 3 minutes, and then next week we'll start lesson 3. So let's give it a try. You're singing that song and I got a lump in my throat, yeah. Oh, there we go. The words wrong. Which I'm sorry. He talks a lot. We tend to call a bridge a middle it's okay. Eight. It happens in the middle of a song, just after the second chorus. If he talks for all this time, you guys call this a bridge. It may be time wasted. Chords just on the A minor and G for twice as long, so it goes like this. And we add the only chord that we know that we've not. Oh, F major. F. I just wanna know. Okay. And F major. All right, okay. Let's try it. So the strum pattern is down, down, up, up, down. We're gonna go A minor, G, C, F, F. hit it twice. We'll go a little slow. We're almost there. 2 more minutes left. Oops. Okay. Got that part together.
Let's go for that bridge just once together. In 1, 2, 3, 4.
That is called a hot mess.
Strum once, and just hold each one down. And then we finish on a chorus as we've done already. And that is how to play Riptide, which is our song.
All right, that's how you play Riptide.
10-day.
Thanks, Beacon.
I encourage you to not only, check
This
out
is lesson 2, and I was saying it's taken me 5 days to get through it, but it looks like we did it. He's going to talk for about 45 seconds, and I'm very pleased about it.
In the future at some point on the
Next up, lesson 3.
In the link in the description, and we got songs like Happy Birthday, Twist and Shout, Amazing Grace.
Oh, I would love
to
learn how to play Happy Birthday.
Before you go for something a little bit more challenging like this one, again, you can do this 10-day course at your leisure.
All right.
You can
We're doing
take
good.
A little bit more time, just cover
One of my, while he's talking, I'm waiting for lesson 3 to queue up.
of course, you can binge watch them all.
I have like
all in one go.
10 goals to achieve every day,
And subscribe.
and one of them is to do something that makes me happy. And I don't know about you guys, like how you operate your lives, but I definitely, it's a little challenging to come up with something every day, but I've been enjoying the challenge. So tomorrow I will be making homemade pizza pockets, and I'm pretty stoked about it, to be honest. And then on Monday, I'm going to go see a friend, and I'm going to bake sweet potato cornbread muffins, which sounds phenomenal.
Now on to page 11.
I don't know what happened to what I was doing. I haven't really been live streaming a lot lately, so this has been pretty cathartic for me. Just kind of getting through a bit of a bad mood. Typically on Saturdays, I'll do a Ask a Christian Social Worker. That's me. I'll do that on Saturdays, but I have not done that for weeks now. So tomorrow is the day to hop back into that saddle. And then Mondays, I was doing a Bible study, and I had stopped doing that as well. So this is me just kind of getting back into the saddle. Let's see if this, I don't know why it's not queuing up for the third one. We've got about 5 minutes left. Cancel this. All right, let's see what's going on here.
Hi guys, my name's Andy Crawley. Thank you for joining.
Life's a trip, isn't it? I wonder what next week is going to be like. This last week, the last like 3 weeks have been so difficult and challenging and sad. And I wonder what next week looks like. Should be interesting. Okay, we have ukulele 3.
Of this free 10-day ukulele.
I'm just gonna cue it up and then we'll hop back on it. I typically stay on here until 8:30, so if anyone has a question, definitely the time to ask. But I think in the way of judging our actions and not our thoughts can be, we can be so hard on ourselves. And really, what's interesting is people are not thinking about us the way we think they are. And that can be liberating, or if you want somebody to be thinking about you, that can be very difficult. But I think we're all just out here trying to come to some amount of meaning for what we want, especially if what we want is not congruent with what we have, right? And so I always tell this story because people want. When I turned 30, I noticed my friends owned houses and were starting to get married. And I remember I looked around at my apartment, just kind of like, you know what I mean, did one of these. And in that moment, I kind of thought to myself, like, I'm not where I want to be in life. I also chose to party during my 20s. This is me talking to myself. I chose to party during my 20s. I chose not to get a degree when it would have been paid for. I chose to have frivolous romantic relationships. Like I even now, right? I'm super non-committal. Like you can't really lock me down. It'll be a challenge. But anyway, I reviewed all these things and I could see that my friends had the house and the marriage and sometimes kids because they had made certain choices. And in that moment, I was actually okay with it because I said, well, I can go back to school. I could go back to school. At the time I worked in direct care. I wasn't in management yet. I could go for promotions. I could stop smoking weed and stop drinking. I could stop partying. But I actually don't want to I could date seriously. I didn't want to do any of those things. And so that gave me the freedom to be like, I'm good where I'm at. Like I don't have what they have, but what they had to do to have that, they don't like have as many stories, right? And so now it's sometime later. Oh, time for me to go. Now it's sometime later and I have a better job, I'm pretty secure. The idea of marriage still is not appealing to me. The divorce rate is 52%. When you get married today, you are more likely to end up divorced than not. And then if the 52 wasn't bad enough, 28% are separated. People in their marriages, they're separated. So that gives you like a 20% shot at being married, staying married, and staying in the same house. 20%. That's a little rough to me. And you gotta like put up with somebody. I don't know. I can do whatever I want. And I like it. Yeah, but I did get the degrees. I did go back to school and get the degrees. And so now I kind of look around and I don't have any regrets. I travel when I want to. I don't know. I just kind of live a life where I'm not really like accountable to anybody. But those are choices and decisions that we make. And while the Lord ultimately has sovereignty over what I could meet a man tomorrow and be married next week if that's what the Lord says is going to happen in my life. But as far as the choices I'm making to get there, I'm not. And so you can too make choices. You can go to school. You could not go to school. You could start a business. You could learn how, that was terrible, but you could learn how to play the ukulele if you want. You could read, what's today, the 7th? You could read 3 books by the end of the month if you wanted to. And so just to tie it all together with judge your actions, not your thoughts. Your thoughts can be very misleading, very fleeting. But your actions will show to yourself and to the world who you are. So with that, I am 3+Kei, your favorite social worker, and I'll talk to you later.